I have an unpopular opinion, and it is this. There's nothing wrong with maintenance sex because, hey, that sex is connecting. It forms the foundation for intimacy in your relationship. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that you don't want that to be the only thing in your relationship. Hey everyone, welcome to the Get Your Marriage On podcast. I'm your host, Dan Purcell, and today's podcast episode is for anyone that feels like sex has become a little routine. It's a little predictable. You pretty much both know who's going to initiate, and the way you initiate is very predictable. And then what happens during sex kind of follows this script, and then you both kind of know when you're both done. It's a very predictable pattern. And you want something a little more transcendent. You want something a little more connecting. It's not that you don't appreciate the sex you're having. You're grateful for it because it's good. But there's still something that's leaving you a little, empty. Something you want a little more pizzazz in. Well, this episode is for you. I've titled it, How to Stop Having Boring Sex. And by the end of this episode, I'll give you 7 solid principles that you can implement in your marriage right away that will immediately help you stop having boring sex in your relationship. If you're new to this podcast, welcome. I'm Dan Purcell. I am the creator of the Intimately Us app and the host of this podcast with over 2 million downloads. I'm also a marriage coach. I work with couples in private and group settings and put on marriage retreats and cruises and online virtual seminars and lots of programs because I am on a mission to help couples, specifically Christian couples, elevate the amount of joy and satisfaction that they're having in their intimacy in their marriage. I've been doing this work for 9 years now, and this is my life's mission. This is the most satisfying thing besides my own work in my own home with my children and my wife, of course. But this work, this cause to help married couples improve sex in their marriage is very important to me. So I want to talk about 7 ideas, and as you go through and as you listen, I want you to think about how you can incorporate this in your own marriage and in your own relationship to elevate the level of connection that you have in your relationship. Ready? Okay. Idea number 1 is understand the difference between maintenance sex and sexploration sex. Now, every couple, pretty much, if you've been married a while, you do have a routine when it comes to sex. You have a script that you follow. I have an unpopular opinion, and it is this. There's nothing wrong with maintenance sex because, hey, that sex is connecting. It forms the foundation for intimacy in your relationship. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that you don't want that to be the only thing in your relationship. So there's a distinction between the maintenance sex and the sexploration sex. Sexploration sex is when you try something new or different, or you're getting deeper together in something that allows you to explore each other more. It's going to be more exposing of your body, mind, or heart as you dive deeper together. It's introducing more novelty into the relationship. That's what I call sexploration. Sexploration is good. Now, for example, a couple can have sex 1 to 2 times a week to maintain sex. But maybe once a month or twice a month, make the sex you're having a sexploration time. When I say sexploration, you might be scratching your head like, well, what do you really mean? Well, it's going to be different for every couple, but let me give you a few specific examples. If you've never tried, having sex blindfolded, you might go, hey, let's try that this time. Or a different location around the house. Or you might start in the shower and progress to the closet and then end in bed. Or you might do something a little more exciting or novel, whatever that is for you. Like maybe finding a secluded spot where you can park the car and get frisky. Make sure you don't get caught. That would be illegal. Or introducing role play or playing with power dynamics in your marriage. Something that takes a little more oomph, that breaks you away from your regular routine. And it can be something as simple as, we're going to switch off who leads this time. If you're the person listening to the podcast, you're generally the one that leads in the bedroom, maybe try swapping where the other person will take the lead that time. These are just some ideas for you. Now, if you want even more ideas, I have 2 things for you. First is, I have an app called Intimately Us. It is free and it is fantastic, full of lots and lots of ideas to not have boring sex. If you download that app, there's a section in there called the Sexploration List. And you download the app, your spouse downloads the app, and after you sync, you can answer these quizzes and we'll tell you where you both lined up on the yeses, the nos, and the maybes for lots of sexual activities. That's a great way to start. Now, if you want something more offline, on my website, and I'll have the link in the show notes, we have what's called the Sexploration List. It is an electronic product that you can purchase off of our website. I think it has like 16 pages of PDF that have tons, like hundreds of ideas where you can mark yes, no, and maybe. Fill this out together or fill it out separately and compare your answers. And it could be a great source for ideas and how to spice things up. That's going to be safe and marriage honoring. So that's to conclude the first idea. Maintenance sex is good and healthy, but you don't want to end there. Also make room for more sexploration in your relationship. Principle number 2 is create an intimacy menu. When we think of having sex, we make it binary. We're either doing it or we're not. We have a very limited idea of what that would mean. But the reality is, if your marriage and if your life is anything like mine, where it feels really busy, chaotic, sometimes just really tired, you're not up for sex, as in maybe penetrative intercourse going all the way, but you still want some form of physical connection. So allowing yourself to kind of have more of a spectrum of what would be sexually intimate activity also is valuable for couples navigating a busy stage of their life. This is where the idea of a menu comes in. Now, when you go to a restaurant, you have a menu. It has appetizers, it has main courses, it has sides, it has desserts. So think in those terms. If we were to be intimate, what would we want to put on our menu? What would you list as an appetizer? Would that be maybe a striptease or a lap dance or a makeout session or bathing together or showering together? What would you list as main course ideas? And that could be, penetrative intercourse, oral sex, and so on, right? Lots of fun things you can do there, or different positions you want to add to your main course. Then you have side dishes, and this can be like foot rubs. This can be hand jobs. This can be playing with a toy or a vibrator, other kinds of exciting things you can possibly put on your side dishes. And then you have your desserts. How do you want to end? What do you want to do afterwards? Now, of course, you don't have to use those exact ideas or those categories. In fact, the day I publish this podcast episode, I'm publishing a post on my Instagram account. Get Your Marriage On is the Instagram account. Go there, look for a post that talks about building a sexual menu. If you comment there, I will send you for free a template you can use to help create your own sexy menu. What you want to do is collaborate together on this. Create this menu, and you can list as many things on there as you both want to do. Now, when it comes to intimacy time, now you have a menu to go off of. You might go, I'm really not in the mood for this main course, but I'm up for this appetizer. Or this side dish sounds good to me. Let's do that. Having a menu gives you more options. It lets you both look at it and go, oh, it's not just so limited. This allows you to stop having boring sex because it widens your repertoire of things that you would consider sexually and emotionally connecting activities in your marriage. So to summarize point number 2, make a menu together and then use it. And this segues very nicely into idea number 3, and that is the principle is to plan sex, not schedule it. We schedule things like dentist appointments, meeting with our accountant, but you plan fun things like you plan a party. I want you to take a planner's mentality approach towards having sex, and that's a great way to not make it boring. When you plan sex, you're going to plan things like our menu. You might say, let's plan to have an intimately connecting time Wednesday night. It's Wednesday. The conditions are perfect. It's business time, if you get my reference there, right? We're going to have some fun Wednesday night. Let's plan this. Then you might go, okay, Wednesday night comes, here's the menu. I'm really not up for, intercourse, but showering together sounds great. Fantastic. That's on the menu. Let's shower together. And that can be your intimately connecting activity. It doesn't always have to end in a specific, limited way. The other point about planning is it makes a big difference when you're planning ahead for something rather than just having something just spontaneously happen unplanned. And you might be wondering, wait, isn't spontaneous sex kind of fun? But if you think back even to your early dating and courtship days, it was still kind of spontaneous fun that you were having, but you still planned ahead. You still thought about what outfit you're going to wear, where you're going to eat, what you're going to do. You anticipate and you think ahead. Another thing planning does for you is it really helps you concentrate on what do we want to feel at the end of our time together. I want to feel closer to you. I want to feel connected. I want to feel seen. I want to feel heard. Then you can reverse engineer that and work backwards. Oh, if that's what I want, then let's plan on maybe having dinner done early or having the kids at grandma's house or whatever it is. Planning is so crucial to breaking the boring routine that so many couples fall into ruts doing in their marriages. Can I just a little side note on this? Sometimes planning ahead lets you do some more exciting things, such as booking a hotel room. In a lot of cities in the United States, you can use a service like Priceline.com. They let you find hotel deals, like last-minute hotel deals. And the concept is hotels want to sell their rooms. They have vacant rooms, and they're probably not going to get someone booking same day, so they'll offer them at a discount using services like Priceline. And for about the same cost as going out to dinner and maybe dessert or whatever, drinks or whatever you're going to do, it's about the same cost as booking a hotel room using these services. So why not book a hotel room for a date night? There's something special about being outside of your typical home experience where there's a lot of reminders of stresses and the constant emotional labor from the mental load that we all carry, being in a new environment. You don't have to stay overnight. You can just leave when you're done, or let your spouse stay and sleep in while you go home and take care of household things. You can coordinate this and plan ahead a little more, and you can make sex really connecting. By the way, I got that idea from my friend Francie Winslow. She was a guest on my podcast a couple years ago. That's something that she and her husband do. They live in a large city where they can get really cheap hotels, and that's what they do for date night almost every week. And I thought it was a great idea. My wife and I have tried it too, and it's a great way. It takes some planning though. So that's principle number 3, plan it. Principle 4 builds on top of that. It's what's called having a king and a queen night. I get this idea from my friend Hannah. And how it works is if it's a king night, this is a night she's going to plan special for her husband. They plan ahead, and she will give him a menu of all the things she's willing to do. And that might be, I'm willing to book a couples massage. I'm willing to make dinner reservations. I'm willing to arrange for babysitting for the kids. I'm willing to do X, Y, or Z sexual acts when we get there, and so on and so on. She basically builds a menu, like a form, and gives it to him in advance. And he chooses, 1 or 2 items from each category. And then she goes to work in planning a king night, where he is the center of focus and fun in their relationship. Because she's planning this and participating in it, she looks forward to it just as much as he does. And then they swap. Next time, it's his turn. He gives her a menu of all the things that he thinks she would really like, and she marks off the things, right? She's the queen. She's the center of attention. She gets the royal treatment that night, and he goes to work and making sure that happens. You can implement that in your relationship once in a while, and that will eliminate boring sex for sure in your relationship. Principle number 5 is make it playful. I'm surprised how many couples are so serious when it comes to sex in the bedroom. It's so, almost sanctimonious. It's so specific. It's so serious. Lighten up a bit. This is a time for play. Sex is adult play, and your bedroom or wherever you are is your playground. Make it extra playful for both of you. What can you do to make it fun? Now, let me give you a few ideas. I've shared this on my podcast before, so I think it's safe to share again. A few years ago, my wife and I planned our intimacy time, and I looked up a bunch of minute to win it games. And I don't think my wife and I have laughed so hard in our life. We're naked in the bedroom, and we're playing these silly games. I got a banana and an orange, and I tied a string to one end of the banana, and then we tied the other end of the string around our waist. So when you squat, you have a banana dangling between your legs, right? And we have this orange on one side of the room, and we marked off a finish line. And so only using the dangling banana you had to roll that orange to the other side of the bedroom. I thought that was really goofy and funny. We're laughing so hard. So there are like 10 little games like that. Can you have fun in the bedroom? Can you make it less, I don't know, serious? Like give each other donkey rides or piggyback rides. Can you play a wrestling game or maybe inflate a balloon and play volleyball where you're standing on other sides of the bed or incorporate a stripping game of some sort? A year ago, I acquired a company formerly called The Dating Divas. Now it's called Date Your Spouse. And Date Your Spouse has so many resources for bedroom games. They are, I think, the world's foremost experts on making time in the bedroom really fun and exciting. Like that minute to win it game idea I just told you about is one of their thousands of ideas that they have on their website. And we've recently packaged it all into a brand new mobile app and added a bunch of other things that make it more connecting in and outside the bedroom. That mobile app is called Sparked. Fantastic app if you want to keep the spark alive in your bedroom and stop having boring sex. Also, it's a perfect complement to the Intimately Us app, where Intimately Us app focuses really on inside the bedroom, sexual things. Sparked handles everything else when it comes to building a great and fun and exciting relationship leading up to the bedroom in your marriage. So I'll have a link to download that free Sparked app in the show notes below. Download that too. It's going to be full of great resources just like that. So just to recap, principle number 5, make it playful and not so serious. This is time for fun. Principle number 6 builds on that. It's use technology to your advantage. There's the Intimately Us app, which we've published and we keep improving month after month. That's free to download, full of tons of ideas and games you can connect in the bedroom. One of my favorite games in Intimately Us, if you're not familiar with that, you click on play. It's the first game in there, and it has the timer, and this timer is key. It starts mild and progressively gets spicier and spicier. And you might start with some light foreplay like massaging, kissing, and then it goes on a little more spicier from there. But because there's a timer component and you take turns, once the timer's up, you have to stop whatever you're doing and switch to the next prompt that it gives you. And you don't exactly know what prompt is coming next. So it's a fantastic way to really build anticipation and fun and a little bit of surprise into your lovemaking. It's a great game to lubricate things in more than one way to have more fun in the bedroom. You can also use the Sparked app that I just mentioned also. You can also use AI tools, and I'm going to do a specific podcast episode about that in the next coming week, so that's a little sneak peek. But you can use AI tools specifically to enhance things in the bedroom. In other words, technology shouldn't be something that gets in the way of you and your spouse. You don't want it to be a barrier, but you can actually use it in a constructive way in the right setting to actually build more fun and play in the bedroom. So don't be shy to use it in the right context, in the right way. Use it as a tool. Let it serve you. Let it serve your sexual relationship. And that'll help you stop having boring sex. We can't come up with ideas in a vacuum. We do need help from other people to help fill in the blanks in our mind. So that's a great resource, Intimately Us and Sparked and other things that we'll be talking about in upcoming episodes to really enhance sexual intimacy in your relationship. Principle number 7. This is my last principle, and it is to invest in your sex life. Where we spend our time and where we spend our money shows a lot about who we are and what we value and what we prize. Couples with great sex lives take the time to talk about their sex. They're great communicators about sex. They spend money on things like getaways and toys or lubricants or ideas, books, whatever it is that's going to help them enhance their sex life. They also, when the time is right, they invest in coaching or counseling to really help them overcome, deeper issues in their relationship so they can enjoy more intimacy and fun and closeness in their marriage as they come across, like we all do, different challenges in our marriage and in our life or different transition points. Getting expert help helps. Investing in your sex life can also mean buying things that will add more novelty to your bedroom and to the way you do it. Let me give you 2 or 3 examples. At the time of this recording, we are in the middle of our International Lovemaking Day celebration. And as part of that, I've organized we've never done this before. These are 4 sexy bedroom boxes. It's a series. It's not a subscription where it's ongoing, but you can pay one fee or it's split into 4 payments. But it's a box of really fun, sexy things that we're going to ship to you right away, and then another one in August, October, and December. So it's 4 boxes, 4 sexy boxes. The first one is all about shower sex, and it's an incredible box with lots of things to really enhance your shower sex dates. And then the next one is more sensual, and then the next one has a getaway theme. The last one is a glow in the dark, doing it in the dark theme. So these different themed boxes. Investing in things like that is an example of what I'm talking about. My friends at Every Love Intimates, they do a subscription box where you get lingerie and a sexy date night delivered to you every other month. You don't have to do subscription. You don't have to do these things. But my point, the principle is couples with great sex lives that don't want it boring, they will spend money on things to not have a boring sex life. If you want to try a new lubricant, give that a try. My friends over at Lava Lube have a great, fantastic silicone product. My friends at Coconou have a great water-based lubricant. And then my friends at Every have a fantastic oil-based massage cream and lubricant combo. They've been guests on my podcast before. You can go back and listen to that one, talk about how they've innovated this amazing new product. Using products and using new things like a lubricant open up possibilities and help you stop having boring sex. And as a bonus, I reached out to my private Facebook group. It's called Christian Couples Improving Sex and Intimacy. If you're not a member of that Facebook group, I'll drop a link to that in the show notes below. I invite you to join this private Facebook group. We just passed 6,000 members, and it's great to have members that are open and sharing, asking questions each other, and getting inspiration ideas from each other on how to improve sex in their relationship. And so I asked this group, what are your best bedroom boredom busting ideas? And one of the top ideas that a lot of people commented on is to have sex in different rooms of the house. It's a simple little thing that will break up your routine. You might start in the shower and then progress to the closet, or do it on the stairs if you have stairs in your house, or on the kitchen counter, or, so on and so on. Using the couch. There's different angles and different things that you can utilize when you use different furniture also. So the principle is use what you have. Don't make it so routine. Break out of your typical things, and you don't have to get too crazy and wild here, at least not at the start, to really enhance sex in your relationship. Now that I've talked about the 7 ideas plus a bonus idea on how to stop having boring sex in a relationship, I want to just briefly address some things. If you feel like you're in a relationship where you're like, Dan, these are great ideas. I appreciate it. They all sound great, but I'm married to someone who's just not interested in these things. Well, I have a few ideas for you on how you can approach your spouse about that. First idea is remember the 4% rule. Whenever we engage in something new, if it's outside of our skill level, like it's too hard for us, we quickly lose interest and get discouraged. Then on the other end of the spectrum, if it's too easy, too boring, we lose interest also. So there's this sweet spot, this Goldilocks zone in between, and that's what experts call the 4% rule. They did research on this. The ideal sweet spot is just 4% beyond your current skill level. So as you introduce your spouse to, hey, I want to have more fun with you in the bedroom, if you're used to a certain level and you're proposing something beyond 4% skill level or difficulty level, it's going to be intimidating and maybe discouraging for you or your spouse or for both of you. So start from where you are, just go a little bit more. And it might be, if you want to try some power dynamics, some bondage, and you're not used to that, you might just start by, can I kiss you against the wall? Instead of going out with handcuffs, if that makes sense. That's what I mean by the 4% rule. A little baby step in something. And it's great because it's still collaborative. Number 2 is if your goal is to have fun and play and connect, these invitations for more fun in the bedroom are going to go very differently than if it feels like a negotiation. If you feel like you got to use your negotiation tactics and like you're trying to bargain with each other, it feels like a tug of war. Who's going to prevail here? Am I going to get my way, or is my spouse going to get his or her way? Then you're doing it wrong. The best spirit to approach these things is a spirit of collaboration, not competition. It's not about who's going to prevail or not. Now, if it does feel like it's a competition, like who's going to win here? Is it my way? Am I finally going to get what I want? How come I don't get what I want? How come I can't express it without you withdrawing? And those kinds of things. Those may signify you have some deeper relationship issues that you want to work through and resolve. And you absolutely can resolve them. I believe in it. You just need a little extra help. Sometimes a neutral third party, like a trusted friend or a really good coach or therapist or counselor, can help you with that. If you're looking for someone that can help you on those lines, reach out to me and my team. We offer professional marriage counseling and coaching for Christian couples, especially around sexual intimacy. That's our specialty, and we can help you with that. I just want to reiterate it again. The idea is to be collaborative and open. You are meant to have a sex life that's nourishing, that's replenishing, that's exciting, something that gets you a pep in your step, a smile on your face, and fills your life with purpose and meaning. And the path to that isn't rocket science. It's quite simple. I hope the 7 ideas in this episode have been really helpful for you to think about how you can stop having boring sex and enhance sexual intimacy in your relationship in a really fun and connecting way. Thank you for listening. If you have a friend that is married that you think will benefit from this, please share this podcast episode with them. Be sure to download our free apps and the other resources. Check the show notes. And meanwhile, go get your marriage on.